Welcome in everybody to the fourth video of my 12-part rookie profile series for the 2023 class. Today, we're going back to the running back position and we're going to be talking about my rookie 104 in one quarterback leagues and my 107, 108-ish in superflex leagues, and that's Syracuse running back Sean Tucker. Looking at Tucker's college career, he immediately began as Syracuse's RB1 in 2020, rushing for 626 yards and 4 touchdowns on 137 carries. No other player on that team had more than 45 carries that season. He also added 113 yards on 8 receptions, so not really a whole lot going on in his freshman year on a horrendously bad 1-10 Syracuse team, but we love seeing that he was immediately part of their offense from day one. But things started to change in 2021 though, as Tucker was given almost twice as many touches as the year prior, now rushing for almost 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns on 246 carries, plus an additional 252 through the air on 20 receptions. Sean Tucker was the offense for Syracuse that year, basically accounting for 50% of the team's production and scoring, which is probably why they went from a 1-10 record in 2020 to 5-7 in 2021. And then 2022, as a junior, Tucker's production fell a little bit, seeing 40 fewer carries, only rushing for 1,060 yards and 11 touchdowns, but his receiving work did jump up to 36 receptions, but still producing 250 and 2 through the air. It's really weird to see a drop in volume and efficiency, especially after a really good sophomore season, and the fact that Syracuse was actually ranked in 2022 and went to a bowl game, but nonetheless, Tucker showed 2 straight seasons of great to elite production in the ACC. So moving to the analytics, let me remind you of my 10 marker system for evaluating running back prospects, which is just a series of baselines that I want players to hit based on what previously successful players in the NFL had coming out of college. For reference, Bijan Robinson will be hitting on all 10 of these markers, just the 4th running back to do so since 2001. And my RB2, Jahmyr Gibbs, will be at 6 out of 10, that we talked about how he was just shy of hitting on 8 out of 10 markers in his prospect video. Before continuing though, I wanted to mention that if you like this content and want to support what we're doing on this channel, please consider joining our YouTube memberships, where you will gain access to additional videos every single month, including a bank of 7 videos that you can watch already. Plus, we will be starting exclusive live streams when we have enough members, and I just posted a link to a Google Sheet that houses all of the data that I'm looking at for my marker system, everything that you want for running backs and wide receivers. It's all in that Google Sheet. So if you want access to all of that, check out the link in the description down below, join the bonus content tier, and thank you guys for checking it out. But for Sean Tucker specifically, he is currently sitting at 7 out of 10 markers, and if he's drafted in the second round, he will go to 8 out of 10 markers. But we are missing one metric for him, since he didn't test at the combine, that if he hit that, he would be a 9 out of 10 marker prospect, which is a very elite group of 9 players to do so since 2001, including guys like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Breece Hall. This is why I absolutely love Sean Tucker and think he's honestly the most underrated player in this entire class. But let's dive into these numbers. As I said, that Tucker currently hits on 7 markers: early production from 2021, receptions from 2022, fantasy points per game from 2021. He also has really good size at 5'9", 207 pounds, which clears my 30 BMI threshold, and one of only a handful of backs in this class to do that. He didn't test at the combine, but he did just post a video on Twitter that showed basically clips from like an at-home pro day, so to speak. So I used his numbers from that video to fill in his athleticism numbers, including his 4.39 40, which wasn't even the fastest 40 that he timed himself at in that video. And if you're still mad or skeptical about me using 4.39, all he needed to do was break 4.5, and he hits on everything that I'm looking for speed-wise, which is pretty easy to do when he's testing at 4.39 or 4.33. Also in that video was a clip of a 41.5-inch vertical, but he didn't have a broad jump in there, which is why we're missing his burst score. But with a 41.5-inch vertical, all he would need is an 8.5-foot broad jump, which for running backs, the average is around like 10 feet. So yeah, he probably would have hit that, and that's the marker that if we assume he can hit that and is taken in the second round, would make him a 9 out of 10 prospect. The only marker that he is like absolutely missing on is career yards per carry. I'm looking for 6. He's at 5.4, but that's the same marker that prevented Saquon and Breece Hall from being 10s. So take that for what you will. So let's assume he is a second round pick in the NFL and he is a 9 out of 10 marker player. What does that mean for us for Dynasty? Well, Like I said, there are only 9 players that have hit on 9 out of 10 markers since 2001, highlighted by Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Breece Hall. Now, obviously, those guys are examples of Tucker's like absolute ceiling in the NFL and shouldn't really be considered straight comparisons for a player like Sean Tucker. Where I think Tucker lies in this group is actually a lot closer to D'Angelo Williams, Cam Akers, and unfortunately Bishop Sankey. So that's a range of outcomes for Tucker in the NFL, from multiple years of elite production like D'Angelo Williams to inconsistent flashes of greatness in production like Cam Akers, or just an absolute complete bust like Bishop Sankey. But since I've started analyzing Tucker this year, the first name that came to my mind as a comp for him actually was Cam Akers. They're both productive ACC guys, similarly-ish sized. Akers has about 10 more pounds on Tucker, but it's relatively close, and their speeds, also adjusting for that size difference, are also very similar. Akers also misses on yards per carry marker as well, and if y'all remember, the main talking point for Akers coming out of college was the horrendous offensive line that he had, but Akers made the most of from his own talent and athleticism. Then he was drafted in the mid-second round, 52 overall, to the LA Rams to be their Todd Gurley replacement. And that's what I'm hoping happens for Sean Tucker situationally. He lands somewhere in that second round where he can immediately contribute as the team starter. I also thought of guys like Javonte Williams or Miles Sanders as other second round picks with similar size and college production that also landed in really good situations immediately in year one. But where exactly are those landing spots this year where Tucker can immediately come in and make an impact? And I don't think that there's any better spot right now than the Miami Dolphins at 51 overall. Not a morning has passed since basically the start of February where I haven't started the day with some sort of like little rain dance, a sacrificial offering to the fantasy football gods to make Sean Tucker to the Miami Dolphins come to fruition, because it truly is a match made in heaven. Sean Tucker just fits a Kyle Shanahan / Mike McDaniel offense perfectly, and they had the need for a starter at the position. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, those guys aren't long-term guys. They're not even really that good, at least not compared to Sean Tucker, yet the two combined for almost 1,300 rushing yards, 300 receiving yards, and 9 total touchdowns in 2022. And to make it even better, Tucker himself said that he met with the Dolphins and spoke with Mike McDaniel at the NFL Combine. That would just, oh my goodness, make it happen, please, Miami. The other landing spot that I would like a lot is Atlanta at 44 overall. And we saw what Tyler Algier did in this offense last year, rushing for over 1,000 yards on 210 carries. But a lot of that production was over the second half of the season, where he was actually on a 17-game pace for over 1,300 rushing yards from week 9 on. And I know that they just got Algier last year, but we see day 3 running backs get replaced all the time. So if they wanted a more explosive player at running back, Tucker would be a great fit there in the second round too. And the third team, coincidentally enough, I think could be the LA Rams to replace Cam Akers long term. Akers is a free agent after the 2023 season, so they could take Tucker's rookie year this year to just start passing that baton between Akers to Sean Tucker. Plus, it's added insulation in case Akers were to get hurt again or wear down as the season goes on. We already know that the volume is there. We saw it at the end of the year last year when Akers was getting almost 20 touches per game over the final 6 weeks and rushed for over 100 yards in half of those games. I'm not saying it would be a smart pick for the LA Rams, but if it happened, it would be a good landing spot. A similar situation could play out if Tucker landed in Arizona or Vegas, Dallas, Chicago even to an extent. And I wouldn't mind Tucker landing in any of those spots from a more long-term perspective. Yeah, 2023 might be kind of rough, but from 2024 on, when their starters move on, that would be a pretty good landing spot for long-term volume. But really, just at the end of the day, I just want Miami. But if you found this video first and you missed my profile on my 1.03 and wide receiver 1 in the class, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and I talked about why he's really the only wide receiver that I want from this receiving class, then you can watch that video right up here.